Isn't that the craziest thing? It's so crazy because I've known a lot of these people for 30 years, and we're all super good friends. We all love each other to death. It's like we're all cousins, kind of. But I think one of the things about soap operas is it homebody type people gravitate, family people gravitate to this daytime show because you have job security and you like working and you want a normal life. So everybody's busy. We're all busy with our families, and I think oh my gosh, I really need to have a dinner party with these people over. The only time I've ever done that was I had it was right after Francis Reed died, and I had Charlie had come on the show, and so I had a dinner party with Charlie and his wife and Wally and his wife. We were still sitting at my dining room table about 1:30 in the morning, and I have never laughed so hard. And then we kind of did sort of a roaming thing. We went to Charlie's and we went to Wally's, and then we didn't do it. Nobody lives close to each other. That's the other thing. Nobody around here lives close to each other. But I would say mainly we're all just busy in our own lives. But we love seeing each other. I mean, Drake's daughter just got married. We all chatted that up a few days ago, and we're interested, but we don't. I dropped I actually have many that I can't really tell you guys about, or like when we're sound asleep hanging from the seatbelt and you think, oh, I hope I make it all the way home. But the funniest was I had taken my car to the service at the dealership to get it repaired, and it said there was a white Explorer coming or something. So I was kind of roaming around waiting, and then the white Explorer comes, and I hop in the car, and the guy goes, and I go, oh, is this not the Uber? He goes, no. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then behind him, I guess, coming around the bend, was a white Explorer, and now I see the Uber sign, and I get in his car. He goes, well, listen, I saw that happen, and I was going to chase it down because I knew you were in the wrong car. I go, oh, well, that's good. So now, whenever there's an Uber, I ask if they're Uber and what's the name they're looking for, because I want to make sure I have the right place. So, but anyway, that was the funniest. There was one I saw in here. What's your biggest guilty pleasure? Well, it's chocolate. It's Rocky Road ice cream, or my favorite things are I love turtles, like toasted almonds with caramel and chocolate. And my friend Cynthia, who you guys know too, the fashion Cynthia, she's amazing cook, and she bakes cookies like crazy. But she makes a great turtle. So we'll have to do that as a blog because it's super easy actually. Like I said, I wanted to be one at 5 years old. I've said this a million times, but my mom had her horoscope done. And she came home and she told each kid what the person had said. And mine, she said that I would be an actress. I don't know if that planted the seed or if I was I don't know. I don't remember. But I was a very precocious child. Very, very chatty. Very, always acting things out. Always wanting to do those shadow sheet movies, where you hang the sheet and you do the shadow thing. And like I said, always in grade school putting on a play instead of doing an exam. So it was always there. And you meet kids like that, little kids like that. When I meet them, I think this is the kid that should be the actor, not the one that the moms are dragging around that really don't want to be there. So, and when I was a little kid, there was a TV show. This really dates me, but there was this show, The Single Dad, and there was this kid, and in the local TV guide, it would say, do you want to be like this? If you want your kids to be like this kid, send in this number, whatever. And I used to beg my parents, and they wouldn't do it. So when I finally got to be a little bit older, like 14, I guess, I got a job at Taco Bell, and I made enough money to pay for acting class and pay my sister plus gas to drive me to the acting class. And so I started probably about then pretty seriously. And then I went to an acting conservatory when I was 18, and then it was a regular professional theater, and got the first play, and got the first play, and then met my husband, who's calling me right now. Got the first play, and then was discovered kind of for Hollywood. And I always want to, and I'm always telling people that. In fact, when Joey went off to prison, sadly, which was heartbreaking, I said to the producer at the time, and to one of the writers, please don't make him disappear. Don't make it, because so many times on soaps, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and we don't even talk about it ever again. And I just think that he was such a big part of our life, and Patch and Kayla really are all about family. And Kayla also coming from the Bradys that are such a generational family. I just feel family is so important. And so luckily we do talk about him a lot, and that makes me happy. So I hope they do. And when they brought Stephanie back for our wedding, It was a glorious day for us, and she just fit right back in, and it was like these people really are like our kids, because Stephen and I we love kids, and we almost like handpicked these people because they were so lovely. And James, I love James that he always let me like rub his ears, and he always kind of let me mess with him and stuff without being offended or off put by that. So I hope they do bring him back. Or we go visit him in the hospital, and visit him in the prison or something. But who knows? And Shelley actually really is kind of a big star in the CW or something or other. So she was kind to come back. I don't know, but I always hope. I'm always hoping, because I love them both so much, and I think our family, the Patch Kayla family, is really good. So I hope they do. And it's so funny about that, because when we've had our little bed scene, which I think was on our wedding night or something, right? It was honestly like, this big. It was only the little, like they call it a fragment, but it was just like a fragment of the bedroom, that little teeny corner kind of thing. We've never seen the bedroom. So I guess we take care of all our business in the kitchen or something. No, I don't know. All they ever saw was that living room. And just where they are with their budgets, they don't pop these sets up and, out and in all the time. And so Stephen and I are always saying, like, where's our house? It's such a pretty set. I think it's one of the prettiest sets. So I hope they do bring it back. But I've never seen I've never seen a whole big bedroom. Hotel rooms, they've shown. We've been in hotel rooms, but our actual bedroom is that little teeny corner, the fragment. Yes, and that's what I was saying before about like Instagram, or I love looking at real estate sites. I look at Zillow all the time. I have 7 different cities that I look up, and I swear I get so excited, like thinking, oh yeah, I could live there, or I'd move there, or I'm not going anywhere. I don't know why I do it, and it's such a waste of time, and it's like I said, it's like a little rabbit hole. I go down there, and it's like, get out, quick. I think I waste way too much time. In fact, I have conversations with myself now of thinking like, I'm just going to stop doing that because I have other things I need to do. So I definitely have that problem. And I love taking a hot bath with my sake bath that some viewers sent me.
If you were to move somewhere else, where do you think you'd move?
Where would I move? Well, I tell you, I went to Nashville on a public appearance, and Missy took me all over the place. I was in love with it. She took me the house that she built, and also so beautiful. And I could see going there, but I love sailing, and I love being on the ocean, and we do it almost every weekend. We rent from a couple different companies, from the junkiest of junky and little tiny, we rent in all these places. That would be a problem, because I'd want to be by that. And then my friend Cynthia, she lives outside Boston, and I go there and I think, oh my God, this is my favorite thing. The houses are from the 1600s. It's along the ocean. It's so beautiful. I love it, but it gets so dang cold there. So I say this to Missy. Missy moved to Nashville when her kids were young, and it's their home, and they are getting married and staying there and whatever. So that works. I don't want to live away from my kids, so I'm not going to move away, because my 2 out of 3 of my kids live close. So I don't think I will voluntarily go somewhere. My daughter talks about moving to Santa Barbara. I know Rob Lowe lives up there, and he commutes. So I may find a little place up in Santa Barbara. She actually lives up there, but yeah, that's probably it. So since I have said in this even how I did start, I'm going to take this question, maybe not how you meant it, but how do I get into it? I'm going to go with that way. And I will say, and I may have mentioned this before, but if I have an emotional scene, a lot of times, like recently, I knew I had a lineup of emotional topic, and I was kind of revved up even when I got to work, and I was, it's like I in my mind, the subtext, as we call it in acting, which is how you're feeling versus your words, was already with me, and I was kind of revved up all day until we got to the scenes. They were already emotionally charged, and they went great, and you won't see them for like 6 months, but so that was good. But sometimes the days will go like that, and I don't normally drag something around all day. I kind of like do it and can even be crying and whatever, and then it's over, and it's kind of like, okay, where's the hamburger or whatever, It doesn't ruin my day or anything like that. But I just try to. Some people do different things, like they have to put earphones and listen to sad music or a song that makes them feel like something. I don't do that. Normally I just have to take a few minutes and think about, usually it's something I love, like a person I love, my children, whatever. It usually comes from a loving emotional place than thinking of something sad. Thinking of something sad doesn't necessarily work for me. Maybe because I don't want to think about sad things. But I usually think about things like especially my children that I love so much, or think of them as little kids. and the love there. So I usually, my emotional thing, life, starts from a loving place instead of trying to make myself cry. So also, I come from this loving place, but then for me, I almost feel like it's this, I'm coming to the top of a mountain that I'm going to ski down. It sounds so funny, but that is almost like I have to be almost at the precipice of emotion and start my scene, and then I'm ready. And even though I'm going to go through the whole scene and the emotion isn't going to come till later, I'm ready because I'm in the right frame of mind. I'm in the right place. So for me, it's prepping that way and then being 100% committed to what is happening right here in front of me. And so for me, with Stephen, it's great because the two of us are so in tune with each other and in tune with that emotional life. We both have that. So a lot of times, when there's going to be an emotional scene and we've been working it all day, it's like churning and whatever, and then, I'm at that precipice. And then sometimes I'll go back over to him and be like, take him by the shoulders and we just look at each other in the eyes. It's like all this craziness all day, this learning, my brain is so foggy. It's like, just stop, look, connect, and then start the scene. And just recently, actually, we did one, and then we actually hugged really tight for a couple seconds before we started the scene because it just connected us so emotionally. And then we started the scene, and it was a beautiful scene. So for me, it's not about, like we were just talking about having, cues of things that will make me sad. It's being at that place where it's like my emotions are lined up for this particular scene. And sometimes if I don't get to that at the top of the mountain point and we start the scene, I know, and maybe I'm psyching myself up, but I'll know it's not going to go well. So I'll usually be like, wait, I have to start over. And then go try to grab it. And I turn away from the cameras or wherever, just take my minute and try to grab it. But then also, if it's not coming, and I know they're all standing there waiting, it almost doesn't come because now I'm worried that everybody's watching and waiting, and I feel bad. And sometimes it's like, well, it's not coming today. But generally, I know I have to get to that certain spot to start. I've saved, oddly, every episodic show I've done. I've saved those scripts. I have those. I don't know why. But days, I guess, because there's just so many. I mean, I started the show in 1986, and we were probably in show 5,000, and now they're in show, I don't even know what, 30,000, 12,000. What are we now? 12,300 and something.
I think they 13, but
13,000. So 7,000 shows or whatever later. 8, would that be 8,000 shows later or whatever? Let me get my quick math. Anyway, so it would have been a lot of scripts to hold on to. So I haven't, but there are certain shows recently that I have, and one was when Joey, that thing with Joey, and then Stephen's and my wedding, because now we reworked that whole thing and what that was. And then a viewer sent me, and I don't have it here in front of me, so I can't tell you who it was, but did a beautiful drawing and the lyrics and everything, the vows on there. That was really cool, and that's in my dressing room. But and then there were a couple recently, and I've saved those. So the important ones, I save them, but I don't bring them home when they're at work, and I probably won't save them much past year or two. I don't want to get too much dust going on in there, but I save them for a little while. But it's good because otherwise I don't remember anything. Like, people say, "What's your favorite show?" I can hardly remember because we're always so frantically memorizing, and then we get through it and we'll just be like, "Oh, holy moly, made it through," and that's so you don't remember. Well, I will tell you, even though sailing, this whole thing was my idea a few years ago, I do kind of wish there was a first mate course, because I'm having to take all the things and navigation was a big part of this, which is if you've ever seen a chart, as they call it, in sailing, I mean, it looks pretty daunting, and you have to use these guys, whatever they call this, what do they call this?
Compass?
The spreaders or something, compass or something. You have to use all that, and these parallel rulers and the compass rose. I mean, it's involved. And I was so nervous. Like, it goes to show you my memorizing skills, because the actual test that was studyable, I got 100%. But then when that was pending, about like, you wouldn't even believe. I think I Instagrammed it or something of what it looks like, of the degrees and the time, and oh my gosh, it made me sweat. Luckily for me, because I was so nervous, it was sort of an open book. The group, me and my husband, got to answer those questions together, and the guy passed us, and I was like, oh, hallelujah. But then when we got back, the guy, our captain, left, and my husband and I were still in the boat, and he said, do you want to maybe review some of that? I was like, oh, that's okay, because he knew I had no idea. So he spent a lot of time. He was very patient, very sweet, and we did it. And since then I have got a few simple navigation books. I was so fired up, and I was like, I'm really going to master this, because I hate feeling like a total dumbbell. And here back, I think that they were on the side table in my den for a long time, and I think just 2 days ago I moved them to the bookcase where now it's not happening. So, but my husband wants to take more courses, and he actually talks all the time about like sailing around the world or something. But I want to see land at all times. So we'll see where it takes us. I don't know. I don't dream in character, but this is my reoccurring dream, that I show up at days and I arrive like I always do through past the costumes, whatever, and I start to ask people if they have seen the script for the day, and then I hear them calling my name to set, and then I'm walking out there going, do you have the script for today? Do you have the script? I need to see they're calling my name. I need to see the script. I have that dream all the time, and I've had that dream for 30 years, and it's maddening. And then recently I had some scenes. I went out to, it was on the lunch break. They block on the lunch break, and then they start the scenes up again right after lunch. And I was right maybe 3 scenes after lunch. So we're blocking on this lunch break, and I forget who I was working with, but we did the couple scenes, and I was all laughing and joking. We're walking away, and they said, oh wait, you have the scenes right here in the hospital room, whatever. And I was like, what? I didn't see those. Because, we pull out our portions of the script, and I guess I get a little too willy-nilly sometimes, and I pull out too many. And it was 3 doctor-loaded scripts with so much doctor dialogue, and I thought, this is my worst nightmare. This is the nightmare that I have. And I went to my dressing room, and it just shows you that the power of frantic and not wanting to crash and burn. I was word perfect. I knew it. I was sweating and nervous and holding my cheeks together super tight to try to focus as much as I could, but I got through it, shockingly. But that, I just couldn't believe it. So now I'm trying to really double-check each script that I don't do that. It's terrifying. It's horrible. Well, because then you think, I'll just run out of the building. They won't miss me. But I never go. But that's what I always want to do. I always say that to 2 people. I'm in the makeup room going, oh my God, what if I just leave? If I just leave, will they care? But they do, so I stay. But, and I've told this a million times, but I didn't know how to cook at all when I met my husband. I made a quiche because I worked at a restaurant that made quiche. So I actually knew how to make quiche. So we had, bacon, mushroom, or whatever, one night, and spinach and broccoli, whatever. This is all we lived on. And it was because, and my daughter and I have this conversation quite often, because it was because I got interest. I became interested. Did I learn how to cook? Because my mother was a Southern cook and kind of killed the beans with the ham hock and a million other things. And it wasn't the way I like to cook. And my husband will tell you, if you ask my husband if I was a good cook, he would say, oh my God, she's the best cook. He thinks I'm an amazing cook. And it really is more self-taught, but also my girlfriends that I've talked about a million times, we would all maybe go on a trip, and we would sort of, we'd buy magazines, cooking magazines, and say, oh, I'm going to make this peach pie, I'm going to make this, and we always have like cook-offs. And so a lot of us learned how to cook that way, and we sort of prided ourselves on having parties and gatherings, and would make all these things, and now I do experiment and do make things, but I make the same things all the time. My broiled fish or my this or that. But I would say I'm a pretty good cook. But I'm really a great holiday cook. Like I can make a great Christmas dinner. I can make a great Hanukkah foods, that kind of thing. And the one thing I always say that I think my husband and I are really good at is throwing parties. We are very social, and my husband will man the bar, and I'll make the food, and he has always had a thing about too much food. So, a lot of times I'll be planning and making the food for a party, and he'll come home with like 3 chickens more or something. I'm like, we don't need that. I have enough. But he always wants to be an abundance of food, which is very sweet. But I'd say now I'm a good baker and a good cook. And just recently, I am starting to branch out with miscellaneous spices like on my own, where normally it had to be like a recipe. And I wish I could just look in the cupboard and say, oh, these things are going to be great. So I don't really do that much, but I'm dipping my toe. But my daughter will say, oh, I don't know how to do it or whatever. And I said, you know what? The more interest you have, the more you will figure it out. And she is. She's getting better and better. You know what? I am not afraid of getting old, and I'm not worked up about it, and I don't really care. And I work with a lot of people who are super great role models. Our stage manager in particular, I think is almost 80, and she's from behind. You'd think she's 25. She has more energy, and she works full time, and she's such an inspiration to me. And different women on our show, they're always so pulled together and fabulous, and they're aging. And that we get to do love scenes and be in a romantic story in our old age is so cool. My favorite, maybe, kind of now. I mean, I've never been happier, and I think this is a great time in our life. It'd probably be good to stop-ish now, because, before you go totally south in the wrinkles and stuff, but what are you going to do? I don't know, I think now is great. I just told my son, he's going 30, 40, I said, that's a great decade. I think, it's what you choose. If you choose to embrace it, it's going to be good. If you choose to fight it, it's not going to be good. That's probably the truth right there. So I've embraced it. I'm continuing to embrace it. So I hope I didn't repeat myself too much. I know, it's like an old relationship with you guys. You've heard everything about me. You know everything about me. So I hope I've told the truth so that when I've said it again now, it comes out the same. I don't know. No, I don't know. But anyway, keep sending your questions along, because we'll do these video blogs, and I'll try to answer as honestly as possible. And they're fun, and I love to hear your feedback. So, arrivederci, au revoir, Evita Zane.
Check my flow. The waiter